Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Star Wars Expanded Universe. Now redubbed by Disney, or current Lucasfilm, whichever way you slice it, Legends. Today for you, I have Book 17 in the new Jedi Order series, Force Heretic 3 Reunion. We're nearing our end, folks. We have 2 more novels before we completely finish the Yuuzhan Vong arc. We still have many stories, many hardships to go, but the struggle with the Yuuzhan Vong shall end fairly soon, and then we will move on to other pastures, other significant events in the Star Wars Expanded Universe. But we'll get to that in due time. So, non-spoilery, oh my goodness, as possible, our heroes finally make it to Zonamo Zakat, the living planet that they've been searching for 2 books. They finally make it there. We learn about little sprinkles of a book that I have not read yet, which now I'm super excited to go back to the prequel era stories and read Rogue Planet. We learn more about that a little bit. We get little sprinkles. If you want the full story, you're going to have to read that book, which we won't get to for a long time. But we'll get there eventually. We have Han, Leia, Jaina, Tahiri, Jagfel, and Droma, who makes a return from the Han Solo duology that we basically got, or that was like really focused on the Agents of Chaos. Then we have kind of a section where they're all on the planet, but Jason go his own path with Saba, Sabtine, and Danny, and Mara, Luke, and everyone else go somewhere else. But that is... oh, right. We also get to see Grand Admiral Pelion again. We really are getting to... I mean, we've had them working in the past before, but this is really starting to show, like, a brewing of a true change in the Star Wars galaxy in terms of the Empire and the Galactic Alliance now, not New Republic. Because with their peace treaty, you know, they stopped fighting, but they've never really been allies, per se. Now we really see them having to trust one another and have faith in one another and fight together. And I think that's really going to breed a change moving forward. Grand Admiral Pelion is just the best character in the entire planet, or one of the best. Definitely probably in my top 5 characters of the EU. But those videos will happen once I've officially read all of the EU. So that won't be for a long while. But yeah, I don't know if I should really say anything else. Tahiri has a significant character arc. Or growth in this, I should say. So that's interesting. And if you want to know about it, you're going to have to read the book. So that's about as vague as I can possibly say. But if you read the other 2 books in this trilogy, I imagine you're going to have some inclination as to what might happen in this book, along with the things I've said. It's definitely worth your time. This is definitely my favorite book in the entire trilogy, to be honest. I despise the no chapters. I despise it with a passion. And that's just going to be a negative for me subjectively. It's not something really wrong with the book. I just hate it. So I will never give that props. But the story overall kept me the most engaged. And I enjoyed this one the most out of all of them. It seems like we're going to get more Tahiri in the next book, which I'm really going to enjoy because she's one of my favorite characters, too. I have so many favorite characters in the EU. Oh my goodness. But really, she's my... not Anakin, not anything else that happened in the Junior Jedi Knights series. My favorite thing about those books was Tahiri, so I'm glad she has such an arc in these books. But that will be it for non-spoilers. If you don't want spoilers and this is your first time going through the EU like me, time for you to get out, because now I'm talking to the veterans here who've already read this book. Alrighty. So, I haven't been mentioning the authors for these the last one and this one, because it's the same authors. It's the same one. So there's nothing to say. That will change for the next one and then the final one. But, yeah. The caterpillar thing. That's the first thing. It's not really anything to the story, but I didn't want to say it in non-spoiler, because when I read it for the first time, I was like, what the... That name's familiar. What is that? So I had to Google it, and I was like, it's the thing from the Brian Daly trilogy. It's the freaking, the caterpillar thing that he sees. Now, it might be in other things. I don't know. But I just remembered it from the Brian Daly Han Solo trilogy, and I was like, ah! So I don't know. It just made me geek out. I was like, hey, that thing. And as I said in non-spoilers, our heroes have been searching for this living planet for 2 books now, and they finally find it. Living planets are such a cool idea. It's such a cool concept. The idea that a planet could be sentient, that it could move in space, which is something that it's been doing, which is crazy. But, then you also have to... I don't know, this seems way more powerful than what we got in if you've ever seen the MCU, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, spoiler alert for Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but it's been out for a while, so whatever. We find out the Star-Lord's dad is a living planet, which means he's, half that. But the way it worked in, that movie is, a part of itself left to go to Earth, and that part of it had sex with the mom or whatever, something like that. But this is completely different. But, the whole ideas of planets living and stuff, I find super cool. And they use it, it's very interesting in here, and I'm excited to see, when I go to the past, how everything that happened in Rogue Planet with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. Oh, right. I forgot to mention in my non-spoiler. Super sorry. Oh my goodness, but it's too late now. But for those of you veterans, I did read the short story or Die Trying. That should have been my first note, but I didn't say that. It's literally just a couple pages of a short thing that happens after book 2 of the Force Heretic trilogy. And Jaina basically goes and confronts a droid manufacturer who helps that guy in the second one that ended up dying and being useless anyway. But yeah, that was something that happened. Forgot to mention it, but once the non-spoiler people finish the book themselves and then read this book, then they can see this part and be like, oh, he did not forget, because I didn't. I mean, I forgot to say it, but I didn't forget to read it. I read it, so yeah. Anyway, back to this book. The Vong are attacking unknown regions outpost, which is the only way to communicate with the rest of the galaxy from that point. So they're trying to get rid of that to cause a whole bunch of problems for people. So that's kind of where the Han and Leia and Jaina and Tahiri things kind of go toward, and Jagfell and all that. That's their kind of story arc for this one. We get Droma back in this book. No one can replace Chewbacca, but especially at the end of this book too, when, Han's, he feels a little upset that he just kind of left without, asking or saying goodbye or anything. There's no replacement for Chewbacca, but I definitely, in my own heart, and I'm sure in Han's, he does feel like a new best friend, or forming to be a new best friend. And I just love seeing him again. It was nice. And we get Admiral Pelion, Grand Admiral Pelion. I loved him in the Thrawn trilogy when I first saw him, though chronologically this is not the first time you would have seen him. And we'll get to that book in the future, which is a Clone Wars novel, where I think that's the only one where we see Pelion in a prequel era thing. I don't know. But I do know he's in one of those books. But anyway, I love seeing Pelion in everything. He's the greatest Grand Admiral in the entire universe. He's wonderful. He's such a great person, such a great leader, and I just love everything about him. Anakin Skywalker killed the Blood Cleaver. I love the little nods we get. I love that later on, I may have a note about that, so I'll get to it in the future, but I just really like, at this point, I think only episode 2 would come out still. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But it's still nice to see, because what does Luke really know about his dad in the past? You don't really get to know that much. So the fact that, he gets a glimpse into Anakin Skywalker's past, I found really intriguing. And I'm really excited to read Rogue Planet, as I've said before, which won't be for a long while, because I'm going to finish my chronological order and then go all the way back. But I really love his, just thinking about that and being like, my father, what? And then Jason also, because he's like, why are you talking about my brother? And then he goes, you're talking about my grandfather. And I thought that was really cool, because these people, they're descendants of the people that met Anakin, but still, Anakin came to his planet before with Obi-Wan Kenobi. So, I thought that was cool. Here's a combination I never thought I needed to see. Jagged Fell and Pelion working together. Or just the interactions together was really... It's nice seeing, these characters interact with new characters. I don't know if they have interacted before. I think this is the first time. I really enjoyed them. Surprise me. And then he's... I don't know. I don't know if Jag Fell would be my top 10. He might be, top 20. I really like Jag Fell, though. I've liked him since his first introduction. I love his relationship with Jaina, but maybe that's because I'm a sucker for romance, because I seem to pretty much like every romance. Here's the thing. I like Luke and Mara, but they're my least favorite couple. I don't know what to tell you. Just do. It's not as strong for me. Han and Leia are always number 1. Book form, comic form, movie form, regardless, they will always be number 1. We don't talk about the sequels where their relationship ends and then they're divorced or whatever, because that's not something that would happen. Sorry. I really love them together. And we're not going to talk about the sequels, because positivity and all that. And the only reason, when we get to Legacy of the Force, I'm going to mention the sequels is because there's a direct comparison there. Anyway. Let's get back to the current thing we're on, huh? I'm sorry. Oh, freaking Pelion. I think this is from Pelion. He says this awesome speech to a Vong-like leader. And then, I don't know if he's also giving a speech to... he's giving a speech to the Vong warrior, I believe. But his entire crew is hearing it or whatever. And he's just like, we are the Empire. We will not succumb. I think that was from him. But anyway, it was a really cool line. I really liked it. Tahiri becomes one with Rena. So she's been struggling all this time because there are 2 different personalities fighting one another. But the only way to survive, the only way to not go insane or die, is to join together. So they become one, becoming a new person. Though she still calls herself Tahiri, because we don't gotta get a new name for her or anything. She's still Tahiri, but she's different now. So that's definitely one of her biggest character developments. And seeing as how the next book is written by Greg Keyes, who did Edge of Victory, I imagine it's gonna get expanded upon even further there. I have to say, I really enjoy the planet segments. That was really interesting. There are parts of the Outpost storyline with Han and Leia and everyone that I enjoyed, but that one was my least favorite of the stories going on. And then my absolute favorite story for all 3 for this entire trilogy has to be given to Nama Noor, who has the best story in this trilogy. Everything that is going on with Nama Noor is freaking fantastic. It is phenomenal writing. I love the dialogue. I love what's going on. I love the way that Nama Noor is just trying to manipulate his way back on top. I freaking love it. And I honestly, Shimmer's gonna die. There's no way. He's too fanatical. Shimmer's gonna die. I'm calling it now, here now. Now, no, I have not read the other 2 books yet. I'm going through this series blind. Except for big events. Like, I knew Anakin would die. I knew that going in. I knew Chewbacca would die. I know Shimmer's gonna die. I can see it coming. He's gonna die. And if I'm wrong, well, then I will beat my face on camera. I don't think I am. But Nominor? I have no idea what's gonna happen to him. But it's so interesting listening to him and seeing how he's trying to scheme his way back on top. He's such a conniving little poopy, but I actually hope he survives. I hope we get a character who's bad, who just recognizes the futility of the situation. I hope he's the one to rule. I hope he's the one that makes it be so that whatever Vong we have left or something, that there is a peace between them and the rest of the galaxy. Because I want more interactions with him, with characters in the future. He's like a Borsk Fela, but like a million times worse. And I want to see him interact with other characters. I just do. I want to see that. So, for a bad guy, I'm really surprised how much I want him to live. Because I want to see his story continue. I really, really enjoy his segments. They're the best. They kept me the most enthralled out of this entire trilogy. That was the best part of it, was these parts. I love how he manipulates his way into getting a new religion forming to go against the religious hierarchy of their society, and how he becomes their prophet, even though he's completely, it's all fake. He's only doing it to get power. And I love how he's honest with his, like, closest subordinates. He's like, yeah, I don't believe in this. But I saved your life, so you're going to help me. And he's like, okay. I like that. I like his pride. I like his arrogance. He's so complicated because clearly he doesn't believe in everything that is his fellow Vong believe in, because he's willing to pick up technology. Because the other Vong will be like, no, it's so disgusting. Ew, 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 don't touch. Right? Because they hate technology. But when he needs to, like when he needs to get rid of anybody that could say bad things about him, he picks up a pistol, a little blaster, and shoots people in the back. Just so he won't get in trouble. So he's willing to do it. Yet he still has that pride that he's above the shamed ones. But then yet, again, he says, if I get back on top, if I get back to where I want to be, I promise these shamed ones that I would make them worthy again, and I keep my promise. So you have this guy who is a lying, evil, conniving, political mastermind who believes in some things of the Vong, and yet totally disregards the other stuff, but then also keeps his word? What is this guy? I love him. He's a terrible, not human being, he's a terrible being, but I love reading his thoughts, I love reading what he says, I love it all. I cannot stress how much I love Nominor. He is the best Vong character in this entire series. The only one that rivaled him was the Vong from the Michael Stackpole duology. I forget his name. I don't remember, but it's the one that Cornhorn kills. And he was the only one that I found just as fascinating. But Nominor, he's had the longest amount of time around. He is my favorite. Anyway, I'm wasting time. Let me move on with my next note. I just had to gush over Nominor and how amazing he is. And I hope he lives. Now let me get to my next page. I actually go to the next page for this. So this is near the end of the book. I really find it interesting that Sakat, the living planet, took the form of young Anakin. Anakin from episode 1. Well, actually, at the end of episode 1. He doesn't have, like, the bowl cut, or whatever that hairstyle is called, for most of the movie. At the very end of the movie, after he's become a Padawan to Obi-Wan Kenobi, he has that little braid thing, and his hair is slightly different, and then people like to make a meme about Padme having the hots for Anakin, even though she absolutely does not. It shows up later. But I'm not going to get into that. But also, she's only 4 years older, so stop acting like she's a pedo. Anyway, people piss me off. I understand it's a joke, but it doesn't even work in the context of the movie. Just like the I hate sand speech in full context makes perfect sense. But anyway, this. I just found it really interesting that he took that form to talk. And it really rattles, Luke a bit. I mean, he's only ever seen Darth Vader. He's never seen his father. Leia has. She's seen, okay, he might have seen the Force Ghost at the end of episode 6 for like a second. Whatever. But Leia's seen the Force Ghost of her father and seen the holo clips of her father in the, what was it called? Tatooine's Ghost by Troy Denning, I think. But Luke hasn't. And so it was really interesting. And then, of course, what does Jason see? But Verge. And last note I just had is that Jerome is in charge of the Rin cell group that's been helping them for like this entire series. Or this entire trilogy, I should say, at least. I don't know if they popped up before that, but I know starting this trilogy, it started. Which I just thought was really interesting that he turned out to be him. Oh yeah, and there's that opening section with Han Solo, which I thought was really cool. I really enjoy that. Harken back to simpler times, or Han's just being a rogue. But apparently that was him the whole time. I thought that was a good twist. I enjoyed that. But yeah, I'm excited to read the last 2 books, and then I can officially say I've read all 19 books and short stories. I will get to the comics at some point. And comics of the Yuuzhan Vong arc. And I will have done it all. And I look forward to that day. And then we can move on to other depressing things. And crazy things. But that's all in the future. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give a thumbs up, sharing episode a ton. If you enjoy the EU, let me know about your love of the EU in the comment section below. Let me know what was your favorite of this specific trilogy, and your favorite book of the New Jedi Order series as a whole, and your favorite novel of the EU, period. Or comic, or whatever. All of the above. Let me know. I want to talk to you. I want to know other people that love the EU and want to talk about it. Up next, we have Book 18, Final Prophecy by Greg Keyes. So I hope you'll join me then, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.